Hello, I'm Dr. Daria and I'd like to talk to you about the classes that I teach. It's been very beneficial to have a background in psychology and education because it has afforded me the opportunity to be both a businesswoman, an educator, a TV and radio show host. I'm also an international speaker and author. I've owned several businesses in my life, very successfully, and all in first markets. And I'm also a social networking guru with 10,000 followers. This is all amalgamated at this stage in my life. I've become a cybersecurity analyst in social engineering because social engineering is all about the people who are dealing with computers. So I feel really comfortable. As a psychologist, my tagline has always been, if you're stuck, stalled, or hit a brick wall, give me a call. As trite as that may seem, it really works because a lot of people are stuck in their lives. We are bombarded by technology and the fast pace of our lives. And so what I do is try to decipher and deconstruct for people to help them be successful both in business and in life. And what we're offering is several classes, 3 in business and 3 in family life and living. So for the first one, it's all about how to be successful as an entrepreneur or to be better at what it is that you do in your own business. Some of the things that I teach are both hard and soft skills. And what do I mean by that? Well, hard skills are the things you can measure. So you will learn about developing a budget, a business plan, a marketing plan, taglines, a mission statement, and objectives, because these are all important, we've discovered, in terms of business. Who is your target market? Where are you going? What is it that you want to do? That's all important, but it turns out all the studies show that people who have not been successful in business generally fail within the 2nd to the 5th year, and that has to do with soft skills. What are soft skills? It's knowing what your needs are, knowing what your beliefs are, knowing what drives you, because these are the things that will sabotage you. For example, what are your beliefs about money? When I ask that in my classes, the first thing I'll say is, money is, and many people say, is the root of all evil. And I say, well, now you know why you don't have money in your business, because if that's what you believe, that's what you achieve. So these are the kinds of skills I'll be teaching in the business course and how to be successful as an entrepreneur or in the business that you already have. The next class that I teach is how to draw traffic to your Facebook, LinkedIn, and websites. I feel really comfortable in teaching this class because I did it by hit or miss. There were no books available to teach you how to drive traffic at the time I was doing this. And so what I did was I developed techniques to bring people in. I will teach you skills that you need to maneuver in social networking, to find your objectives and your target audiences, because that's really important when it comes to social networking. You can't really do cold calls like you do one-on-one. Is your objective to do a brick and mortar business? Is it to do an online business? Are you driving people? For what reason? And you always want to drive them to your websites. So I'm going to tell you about the LinkedIn and Facebook statistics, if they really are very good at business and helping you grow your business, how to organize your address book, and what I will do for you is build a foundation to demonstrate to you. Here's what you need to do before you start driving traffic, and then what happens after you do. Because sometimes in the beginning, I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to answer the emails, because you must constantly keep in communication with the people you want to be customers, or they won't be customers very long. So it's a little bit different than brick and mortar business where you see people coming in and out all the time, or can speak with them on the telephone. And yet the skills are very much the same. I'll be teaching you also what happens after that traffic flows and how you can manage it, because that's one of the things people talk about a lot in my classes is, oh my gosh, all these people are coming, what is it that I can do to be able to manage it and manage my own life and still do my business in the process while being on social network. The next class that I teach is Cybersecurity. What can you do to protect yourself in cyberspace? Everything we have today is technology driven. Your car, your phone, your TV, your computer, your iPad, everything in our lives now, even the electrical alarms in our homes, in our businesses. You would be simply amazed at how easy it is to hack in. I personally will tell many stories prior to getting into this business, and I'm very happy to have a psychology degree to understand it. I was one of those vulnerable people who opened up emails from friends who had viruses on them, which were many in the last several years. Also, people give out information. For example, at the White House was hacked. How was the White House hacked? Well, it was an inside job. So you can have all the technology in the world and all the firewalls, but if somebody opens the wrong thing or brings a memory stick into their computer from home, you can get a virus in your business. In the White House, what happened was somebody opened up an email and there were a bunch of monkeys playing. They sent it all over the White House, and pretty soon the White House security system was hacked. So many of the businesses that you've heard that have been targeted and have been hacked all have been from the inside, from personnel doing something that they shouldn't have done. The key is 9 times out of 10, people are going to get hacked. We've got technology everywhere, and there are not good people. We don't have legislation, and we don't have the kinds of things that we need, the firewalls that we need to protect us. They haven't quite caught up with the hackers. And so what I will do is not only teach you about prevention strategies, but I'll also teach you about what to do in the event that it happens. Personally, about 10 years ago, I was hacked, and I spent a lifetime collecting my email address book, which at that time was about 5,000 email addresses. And the next thing I knew, I couldn't get into my email address at all, look at my emails, nor could I. They completely wiped out my email address book. Thankfully, I keep a computer, separate computer, where I keep all of my email address book that is never online. So I was able to retrieve it, but how many people really are? I also was hacked, and because I travel a lot, friends of mine got an email that said that I was in England and didn't have money. You know that email. And I actually had a girlfriend who was on the way to sending me money because she knew I had been traveling to England and didn't know I was back. And luckily her husband interceded and she didn't send the money. But these are the kinds of things that have been happening. You think you don't have information for these hackers. Well, think about another thing. Have you looked at your bank statement? Is there $1 or less that has been taken out of your bank account? Those are hackers that are phishing. They're looking for whether or not you really check your bank account. So these are the kinds of things I'll be teaching in this cybersecurity class. So the next class I teach is, can we really have it all? Well, my line for that is, having lived this long, raised children, and owned businesses, can we have it all? We can have it all, but not all at once. I was fortunate because I had a degree in education and psychology, and what happens is, as a psychologist, we often get burned out, and so I would start a business, and I loved first markets. I started the first holistic health center in the United States, the first environmentally friendly wholesale retail store, and I also wanted to be a mom. So what I did was I homeschooled my children. I brought them to work with me. They ended up becoming business people because they participated. I had that luxury because I had the background, but most people don't. So what do? Can you really have it all? If you're a single mom, you know, if you're 2 parents who are working and have a couple of children. And if you understand who you are, know thyself, and to thine own self be true. If you know the beliefs, the needs, the wants that drive you, it will enable you to know how to balance your life. If you don't know those things about yourself, then you're constantly in an adventure or on a roller coaster trying to weigh and measure everything to determine what your priorities are. You know, recently a CEO lost her CEO husband, and a freak accident, running on a treadmill. And they had it all. You know, they had the business, they had the children, they came home for dinner every night. It appeared that life was in heaven for them. They had it all, and in an instant, it all changed. And that's life. It's all about change and what you do with that change. Unfortunately, we're taught in school that failure is not an option, but it depends on how you look at failure in order to be able to drive your life. So failure is not necessarily a bad thing. It develops character, it teaches you how to be resourceful, and it also enables you to find out who you are in terms of crisis and dig deep for who it is that you are. I enable you to look at your dreams and how to manifest them in this class on Can We Really Have It All? The other classes I teach have to do with children. Luckily, I've spent a lot of time in the last few years working with special needs youths, in particular autistic young adult Asperger's. What I've have 100% track record in terms of helping them lead an independent life, as well as finding work and sustaining a job, which is very, very important. 1 in 36 boys are now being diagnosed with autism. Huge, huge influx in our workforce. We don't have institutions to put them in. They don't have social skills, the kinds of skills that people normally need for human interaction. They can't read facial cues, they can't read body cues, they can't read environmental cues. And so what happens is that they make mistakes. They don't have time management skills, so they don't get to work on time. They don't know how to get up and prepare themselves to get to work. They don't know how to manage their time in a job. So these are the kinds of things, they're all different, and that's why it's called a spectrum. And what I've done is I've been able to develop techniques that enable me to be able to help them, which I will share with both people in the workforce, because autistics are very loyal and hardworking people once you find the right position for them. In my experience, I get them at 28, 30, 35, 37 years old because they failed in being unable to have a job. And what I've determined is when they graduate from high school and they graduate out of all the programs that are support systems that are available, they flounder. A lot of times they're sent by guidance counselors into positions that they cannot be successful in, even go to college. And because they don't have skills, for example, I had one who was sent by the guidance counselor to become a nurse. She is not only autistic, but she also has epilepsy. Now ask yourself this question: who in their right mind would have an epileptic autistic giving them prescriptions or putting a needle in them? So we have to really start thinking logically about where we're putting these people in the workforce, because they are bright and intelligent, they are the spectrum, and there are places for them, and they can live independently. The next course that I teach is about children's bad behavior. Most people, no child is born bad. What happens is that children develop coping skills because they miss a skill throughout their development. And those coping skills can be both positive and negative. And so what we must do is we must find out what skill it is that they've missed, that they've developed this bad behavior, unravel it, and make a positive one in its place. And so I attempt to change parents' mindset that, because I hear about the terrible, it starts at 2, so to speak. What is it? What skill have they missed? What is it that has not been taught or developed that needs to be developed that we can go back and do? And it doesn't matter how old the person is, because I've had them in college who their second year of college, for example, and they were suicidal and depressed, and yet they were the valedictorian and the straight A student in school. And what happened was that they got through with coping skills all the way through, but once they got out into the real world, did not have the kinds of skills that enabled them to be able to cope with the high-stressed world that we live in. So I take them back, take a semester off, reteach that skill, and send them back to be successful. So these are the kinds of things that I'm teaching. So if you'd like to take any one of these classes, you are welcome to go to the website www.docdaria.com, and there you will find the classes listed where you can take them. Or you can email me and ask me to put you on our email list for our newsletter. My email address is Daria, D-A-R-I-A, @docdarb.com. Daria@docdarb.com. I look forward to hearing from you and having you participate in the classes, whether it's for you to be in business or in your personal life, to be a success. And hopefully we can help you do that. Thank you.